morning.
Good morning, and welcome to another Foster and Marshall podcast on a rather wet and windy afternoon. And today's podcast is going to be based on various different topics, mainly about freedom, possible about missing people, but we're just going to take it as it comes.
Yeah, I'd like to say about, I want to reinforce about our freedom, Foster. Now, where do I begin? Because the whole of the country is seeing, and I can't go around this and make it, I've got to say it like it is, lies, deceit, en masse by consecutive governments at a time when, having just come through COVID, everyone has suffered greatly from that, more than anyone knows, because Foster and I, we care from our hearts, and we know that being locked up in COVID would have caused people terrible, terrible, terrible hardships for various reasons, which we won't go into right now. But basically, so we've just come out of all that, and we've got a government, and I don't like talking about governments. I came away from it after COVID. I couldn't stand all the lies and deceit, but we have to speak out when we know that it's incredibly, incredibly important for everyone, young, old alike, to stand up and unite against digital. Digital is about complete mass control. And there's no two ways about it. I don't care what colour party you go to or for. Personally, I can't bear it. But this, for me, is about everybody's freedom, which is so important, especially now, because 2029 and 2030 is looming, and it's dark, and it's up to us to bring the light in. Each one of us has 40,000 neurocytes firing off. This is scientifically proven from our hearts. And each neurocyte is a free thinking. You can't see radio waves, and that's what this is like. You can't see all this beautiful light coming from our hearts. I'm not taking into account the dark ones here, because there are dark ones. We've all seen it on the news. We've heard the horrors of Hollywood and all the rest of it, and we know it's not just there, it's worldwide. We've both had our own experiences of paedophiles and worldwide. And while I'm on this, I just want to say, Foster, and then I'll hand over to you. Kay Adams, who was sacked from the BBC for the C word. Now, this was 14 years ago. How ridiculous is that? I mean, I use the C word. I use it quite a lot, but there are many C words, aren't there? But apparently, no, she used the C word 14 years ago, and she's been fired from the BBC. So how come the BBC kept on the most prolific, evil paedophile in Jimmy Savile? And that's proven. And it was all, so many people told the BBC. They knew like everybody else. So I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to park that there for now, but we are going to come back to this, because things aren't right, are they, Foster?
No, they're definitely not right. And I think that there is something going horrendously wrong at the BBC. It's not just Jimmy Savile, Yvonne, Marshall. It was actually Hugh Edwards as well, the newsreader just recently.
Right.
And for whatever reason, the establishment just seems to let this just ride. They just sort of park them to the side, and it all just naturally gets swept under the BBC carpet. it just goes, let's just, nothing to see here.
Yeah.
There's nothing to see here. So some woman who flipped her lid over some for some unknown reason 14 years ago uses the C word in a fit of
Yeah.
rage and gets the boot 14 years later. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, when you look at the level of, if you like, crime, if you want to call it that,
Oh,
saying
yeah.
the C word privately, not out there on the airwaves going, this
Yeah.
person is a, you know, a CUNT, isn't the same as somebody sending explicit photographs to young people
Oh,
and hiding behind the facade of this squeaky clean newsreader. So this is quite recent. This isn't all
yeah.
that long ago.
Yeah.
And there have been lots and lots of incidents within this where, you know, things are being brushed under the carpet, and nothing's rational. Everything's irrational.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
makes sense.
Absolutely.
Nothing
Absolutely.
makes sense at all. And I think that people are beginning to see through the facade, see that things are going horribly wrong in the establishments.
Yeah.
What were once really good organisations, they were what made Britain, are slowly being eroded from the inside, and these people have been allowed to
Yeah. Yeah.
um, carry on regardless. Um, I'm going to have to stop and let the ruddy dog out.
You let your dog out, and I'm going to carry on, Foster, for a little bit.
That's okay.
It won't take you long, I know.
No.
This is life. This is real life. Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah, so this paedophilia is en masse. I think it's everywhere. It seems to have grown. And apart from all that, it's all the other horrific things that have gone on. And so this is, as I say, close to our hearts, and we will be talking more in depth about it. I've just done a brief reinforcing about how we feel about paedophilia and all the rest of it. And while I just want to remind you, Foster, and forgive me if I'm wrong, because you are the political, I'm not. But is it Harriet Harman who wants to bring paedophilia in?
She did when she was in the,
Yeah.
not all that long ago, when she was part of Parliament, and in Parliament, that's exactly what she was
Yeah.
campaigning
Yeah.
for, to
It's
legalise
horrific.
it.
Horrific. Horrific.
It is. And the thing is, when obviously you're telling our audience that we were, paedophiles, etc. And the reason that is in the forefront of what we do is because we pick up the pieces after these people have been abused by
Yeah.
paedophiles, which is
Yeah.
a very
Yeah.
harrowing thing for that person. It's a harrowing event for that person to actually relive. And we hold the space for them. And that's
Yeah.
part of what we do within our profession. So
Yeah.
that's why you're going to hear us talk about people going missing. Where are these kids going? I mean, for me, I remember if a child went missing, it used to be frontline news. It
Yeah.
was
Oh,
it was something that was taken took real priority on the news feed as to why and where this child has gone. This child has
oh,
gone missing, and it was almost like a nationwide concern. Now
yeah.
we just don't hear about it. It's something that I see now really locally on social media like Facebook. Devon Live will give out a notification that a young person has gone missing and that they're looking for them, and could people be aware, and
Mhm.
if anyone has seen them. But we're not hearing that nationwide anymore. And I
No.
find that really disturbing, that we're actually focusing more on overseas events rather than what is actually happening on our own island, you know,
mm,
in the United
mm,
Kingdom
mm,
itself. So
mm.
we spend far too much time on what's going on overseas than we actually do in our own country. So this is it's another case of there's nothing to see here. So it's another sort of fraction of trying to dumb everyone down as if and
Yeah.
make believe that everything is sparkly and wonderful on the paved streets of gold of the UK, where in
Mm,
actual fact it isn't. I mean, there was a case where all they found is this young person's shoes,
mm,
and it's always conveniently placed by a river or a sea, and then there is nothing the sea, and there's nothing else there that would indicate why this child, this young person, would suddenly just take off their shoes and disappear into the wilderness. So these young people are disappearing on a regular basis, and it's kind of just being it's just become matter of fact, and I find that really quite disturbing too.
yeah. Well, I wondered why the local newspapers were taken away. Local newspapers were about community connections. They were all taken away. And those journalists were actually real journalists because they would go out, interview people about whatever had happened in the community, and they were just taken away.
Exactly. Everything's sort of ground to a halt, and this would be where, you know, we would find what was going on in our local communities. But again, this is another part of the breakdown of
Yeah.
our society. You know, first of all, it was, you know, the community centres themselves, youth centres, it
Pubs.
then
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
pubs,
absolutely.
you know, whether you like going into the smoky arena of a pub or not, when it you know, when we were allowed to smoke in pubs and et cetera. But, you know, slowly but surely, they've put the price of, you know, beer up and wine up in a pub so expensive that, you know, now people are just drinking at home and not necessarily socializing and going out in groups. So this is kind of like prevention, and it's well sort of orchestrated and well planned, but incredibly subtle as well. So
Yeah.
it's all these changes to our
Little by
social
little,
social
taking everything
integration.
away. Yeah, little by little, taking everything away. And your point about the pub landlords and the price of beer and wine now, having to, having a drink there. They're putting the rates up. The rates that the government and the councils are charging is ludicrous. So that is a form of control. They know what they're doing. They know perfectly well what they're doing, and that's destroying society and destroying this country from within. I know that we both speak from our heart here, Foster, that I don't know, we've all got to unite. We have, or we're done for, because all our freedoms will go. Freedom where we eat, what we eat, because they'll be controlling the food in the supermarkets. I mean, and Foster, you already spoke about tomatoes on a massive aisle.
Tomato fest. I mean, I love a tomato. You know, I love tomatoes, but I didn't expect to go into my local supermarket and see nothing but tomatoes.
No,
I
and
mean,
the
I was
reason
like,
is,
what is? It's just literally filling up empty spaces. And just moving on to Tomato Fest and actually taking this a little bit more onto a serious note, the
mm,
Chancellor, Rachel Thieves, she's just asking the supermarkets to halt any price rises on bread, milk, and eggs. So you're already seeing the government interfering in the way the supermarkets distribute their food and price it. So everything that we're saying about the government now coming into control, she obviously feels that she can now dictate because we have
Yeah,
to use the word dictate.
they are
We can now
dictators.
dictate to the supermarkets what they can and cannot charge. Now, this actually isn't right, because these these are produced by somebody,
Yeah,
and various farms, etc. And at the end of the day, they have to pay the cost of that production. That has got nothing to do with the government. It's a free market.
yeah.
So here we are, where we're now being told, where they're now being dictated to, and we're now really seeing that dictatorship coming into play,
With food, yeah.
going into the main supermarkets. Now,
Yeah,
I find that really concerning, personally,
it's
because that shouldn't
horrendous.
come into play.
And it makes me angry because it is dictatorship. I mean, when I was growing up, they'd talk about Russia and dictatorship. And I thought, well, that's a country far, far away. And we live in this is when I was a lot younger, and we live in this free country. But then gradually, what do we see? We see so many traffic lights, so many cameras. We've got cameras everywhere. We're the most watched people in the whole world. There are cameras everywhere, and it's just not right. And does it stop crime? No, because crime's on the increase. It's increased and it's horrendous, and people are fearful, and they've every right to be fearful. So yeah, the government interference in everything, you can see it. And imagine what it's going to be like if we go digital. I know that they're going to be telling us what we can eat, where we can go, when we can go there. Can we go for a drive? Can we have a car drive? Can we go on our bikes for a bike ride? Can we go out in the country for a walk? I mean, you can see it all coming. It's like a massive jigsaw puzzle that we piece together, and all us podcasters are doing it in the whole world, piecing together all the things, the jigsaw puzzle. And of course, on its own might not mean anything. You start putting it together, the pieces together, and you can see it all happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is it. I think everyone now is, they kind of, everyone says it's time to wake up. But it is actually time to wake up and smell the roses and the coffee, because
Mm,
things are changing before our very eyes, and they are
mm,
things that we didn't think would ever happen in the
mm,
United Kingdom.
mm.
And you make that point about Russia. I think if we actually went to Russia, not that I'm planning on doing that, I think we'd actually be quite surprised, because I think the Russian people are probably freer than we are.
Yeah, I do. I think that
I
now.
I think that
I do.
I think this
Yeah,
whole I'm
we've,
beginning to think now
yeah,
whether this is just another lie that's been
yeah,
forced
yeah,
upon us, and that actually
absolutely.
some of these people that are being painted as evil dictators aren't as bad as the evil dictators behind our own government.
Well, exactly. I mean, I saw him shaking his head, talking about, and he was going crazy because we are, the English. And when I say English, it's multicultural. We are multicultural. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of
Uh,
Black English, Asian English.
yeah,
Yeah,
love it.
love,
Absolutely
so
love them. We've
we,
got friends. Yeah,
yeah, so
this
it's
is
not
not.
that,
They can't play the
the
race
race
card
card.
because it's not true. And so we all came out, many, and I wish we had gone Foster now, for against digital ID, which is against taking away more of our freedom. And I don't like saying this man's name, but Starmer was shaking his head, banging his hand down on his saying that it was all far right. No, it wasn't. It was not far right at all. It was calm and peaceful, talking about we don't want digital ID,
And we don't want
um,
dictatorship.
and we don't want dictatorship. And every government that has been voted in has not done what they said. They lie. And in my mind, they're con merchants. They're just con merchants.
But you see, I think that this is part of the play. I think this is part of the psychology. I think that this has been done deliberately, certainly over the last 30 years, to actually even 35 years, was that we're going to keep standing on a manifesto, not implementing that manifesto, lie to the people, and then they'll get so disillusioned
Yeah,
with
they get fed up.
democracy
Yeah.
that they'll stop coming out to vote. And that's why in the last podcast, I merely want to state, don't vote for the usual four. Think outside
No.
the box.
Yeah.
Do you read?
Absolutely.
Do your due diligence. Look at who is actually speaking your language. And generally, when somebody's coming up from the ranks, it doesn't matter who it is, but from the outside, they are far more passionate about proving themselves to be honourable and trustworthy than those that have sat in the Houses of Parliament for the last couple of 100 years and lied through their teeth. But I think there was a time when Parliament was good, where Parliament was where people could really debate and look at everything as a whole. I still believe in democracy, but I don't believe in the top four. I don't believe in the primary colours anymore.
No, because they're
I think even that
dictators.
was, I think that was all part of
It's not for the people.
pre-programming.
They don't care about the people.
No, they don't.
They don't. That Blair is still in government, but he's hidden behind the scenes. He's got his family taking over digital ID, being given £500 million, and his son, his daughter-in-law and his son. And there are people, relying on food banks. It's disgusting. And it's worse than the 60s ever was, because we've got corruption, and it's en masse. Corruption en masse. And a time in the world when people really do need to unite against what's coming, because all right, there's good in AI, but there's also bad in AI.
Aye,
Yeah, AI.
aye.
AI. And actually, there's an AI, an AS, some AIS, and an AI. I mean, I dread to think. So, I mean, it's going to be, if people allow it to happen, it's going to be absolutely horrendous. And not only for people, but for nature, the planet, and everything. And this isn't just some crazy old bird saying this. There are people, professors, scientists saying this. It is absolutely shocking what is going to happen if we allow it.
It really is. So I think it's up to us now to. All I'm going to say is it's now time for people to do their research. Don't give up on democracy, but don't, think outside the box, because there are some good people with freedom and true moral values and that want the highest good for the people of this country. So I think you have to,
and
I think you've just got to look.
And foster, in history, we have actually been at war with America in history as well. But I think we all learn in history, and this being united with America is one of the most wonderful things. We've actually worked for Americans, and they're absolutely lovely. And so we've got wonderful links with America, and we want this to continue. And this government certainly doesn't. It's pretty awful. And anyway, it's about. And also, I love the idea of trading. We're limited. The Americans make the most wonderful products, and trading, I mean, that's being stopped. the products they make that we can buy. We can't. They stop it. We're lumbered with things we buy that are absolute crap. Don't fit, don't work, pay all that money, and it's just made cheaply. It's awful. Awful.
Yeah, it's maximum profit margins, which isn't
Yeah.
necessarily absolutely. Well, there is again, it's another one of those twists and turns, which is where we've just gone through a period where everyone was, talking about slavery, quite rightly,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
horrendous time in history.
Yeah.
And again, it was the British that were the ones that actually brought it to a close first. The slavery is still actually going on
Oh,
overseas today.
absolutely.
As we're
Yeah.
sitting here,
Yeah.
believe it or not, those very people that make those clothes or whatever that aren't of a high
Yeah.
quality
Yeah.
are in sweatshops.
Yeah. They're
So,
slaves.
so in a way, indirectly, it's like nothing to see here. It's all
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors. Whereas we are
Absolutely.
very capable of making our own clothes and our own items here in the United Kingdom, in the UK. So
And
I think
trading.
it's time to get back to buy British. I
Yeah.
think we have
Yeah.
to. And even if
Yeah.
we are spending more, at least what you're going to get is going to last.
Yeah.
It's not
And
gonna
I
just be a one-wear thing, one wear and
abs-
throw away thing.
yeah, and absolutely, Foster. And I don't believe in all this packaging now. People should be able to go in and just buy one of something if they want to, not all packaged up. And I just don't agree with it. But there we are. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
that's my
because if you're
personal
on your
opinion.
own, you don't if you live on your own, you don't wanna buy a pack of,
No.
say, 4 pieces of fruit. You might only want, one. So I know some of the supermarkets do allow you to buy loose stuff, but it's been kind of made too convenient in a way,
Mm,
and that's another way where they've sort of dominated the high street. Because you'd have more than one, bakers, you'd have more
yeah.
than one greengrocers, et cetera, et
Mm,
cetera. But, and also the over-packaging. I mean, I remember them talking in Parliament that we wouldn't have the packaging now, we wouldn't have plastic now. But I only see more plastic. I don't see
so
any less plastic. I
no.
see more plastic. So,
Yeah.
I think we really have to consider, you know we're basically being gaslighted. We're being gaslit and, lied to our face, and we have to seek the truth independently
Yeah,
ourselves.
research. Go back to the 1800s,
And
check
even
out the
before.
Rothschilds, and yeah, but it's the banking, you see. It's the banking that started then, and it's off the backs of honest people that were going to help everybody, like Nikola Tesla. Free energy for everyone, which was taken to use against us, and he was quickly got rid of, and all his wonderful work was taken. And then we're back, and I'm going to say it again, Foster, forgive me, but the chemtrails, because you and I have noticed that when the chemtrail is particularly low, we're actually not feeling well, and it's not a virus. It's very strange, isn't it? Because they're going to be putting aluminium and mercury in. So we've noticed, haven't we, the effects of mercury we've noticed from these chemtrails is on ourselves. And it might be light doses at the moment, but over time, constantly doing it, it's affected the bees, which you can see. Everybody should see that. Lack of bees, lack of insects, which the birds rely on, and Mother Nature. So it's interfering with everything. And chemtrails are real. Robert Kennedy has spoken in the White House about it. And he's also mentioned DARPA involved in it. And DARPA are dark. They are, unfortunately, their own horrible, what can you call them? Uh, they're a what's it on their own. because they really are dark. They're to do with Monsanto, which was another terrible research place in America where they do all sorts of horrible research, which is like Portadown here, very similar to Portadown. But Foster, it's we've got to keep pushing that one. Look up in the sky when you see a beautiful blue sky, and we know how the sun makes us feel. Makes us feel upbeat. You want to get your cleaning cloths out, do your spring cleaning, do your gardening, go out for a bike ride, a walk. When it's grey, you just want to hunker down indoors because it's so horrible. And also the sun is so good for us at a cellular level. So anyone who doesn't believe in these chemtrails needs to monitor the skies more and what is actually coming out of each aircraft, because it's for real.
Yeah, you don't have to watch for long because a charter jet, quite rightly, it evaporates straight away, just as it should do, because it's just emitting the moisture from all the air condition, etc., on an aircraft. But the chemtrails they expand and turn into clouds. It doesn't take long to stand and watch it. 15 minutes and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. It's evidence. It's time to look up, look out, look around you. Look at the changes that are going on in your community. Look how trees are being felled secretly. Look how,
Yeah, yeah.
just look, you're suddenly, where there was once an oak tree is now an empty space, and just go, when did that happen?
Oh,
Because it's slowly by
it's
stealth. Everything's
heartbreaking.
happening. Everything is
Heartbreaking.
happening by stealth because that is our ecosystem. You've got people save the planet, and quite damn right we need to save the planet.
Oh,
We need to be sensible about everything. But, it's all being done by stealth.
yeah,
And I do know, that there are campaigns now going against building that's going on Greenbelt.
yeah,
There's a lot of brown land, what they define as brown land, or that could be built on quite
yeah.
easily, but they're going for the green belt, and you have to ask yourself why. And also, why would we want a field full of solar panels when it really should be a field full of crops?
And trees. Oh, yeah, crops. I mean,
Crops and
don't get
trees.
us started
If we're
on
talking about
yeah,
our own food,
yeah,
um, if Rachel Thieves is going to the supermarket telling them that they can't put their prices up, why aren't we growing our own veg, and why aren't we
yeah, yeah.
why aren't farmers planting the food and doing what they used to
Yeah,
do? Farm.
yeah, Riverford at Staverton in Devon, hats off to them. They've been doing it since the 1950s started, growing all their own veg, and they don't spray it with poison. And, I heard a little conversation the other day in the supermarket about, organic. Well, organic is just not sprayed. It's natural, People really do need to. I mean, these chemicals are going into your system. They're going into your cellular system, and they are causing cancer.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Evidence now is beginning to show that there's an increase in certain cancers. So if we look at sort of, say, bowel cancer, and they're all standing there, supposedly scratching their heads, going, "We don't know why this is happening." But it doesn't take long to run the test to find out what's actually in your blood now and what's actually in your system. And these.
Well, Dr. William Lee, hats off to Dr. William Lee on YouTube. Go and listen to Dr. William Lee. He looks under the microscope. He's a scientist. As well as a doctor. He's brilliant. He looks under the microscope at the effects of all the food and all these chemicals in your system and what it's doing to you on a cellular level. Check him out, Dr. William Lee, brilliant man.
Yeah. And there's a lot of scientists like William Lee as
Yeah,
well, and it's really
absolutely.
good from the nutritional aspect as well. He talks a lot about each body system and what you can take in to help nourish and revitalize your body through food. You know, food being thy medicine. Again, which is another thing that we're very interested in, is sort of
Mm,
health and
mm.
well-being. So that's our reason for sort of checking these people out. And again, we like to look and read and learn and find out what's actually going on. It's important to our research as
Absolutely.
holistic therapists. So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, I absolutely second that. Marshall. He's a very, very interesting man.
Yeah.
And there are some really great authors out there that are talking about food in
Oh,
terms of health
absolutely.
and well-being.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I
So,
like Dr. William Lee because he looks under the microscope. He actually
absolutely,
sees on that blood and cellular level.
absolutely.
Um, so yeah, he has got two brilliant books out. Eat to Beat Disease and Eat to Beat Your Diet. I
Yeah.
highly recommend them. Yeah. No, we have got some brilliant people out there, and they're all natural where possible. And we're not against certain medicines from the doctor, but I personally prefer to go natural medicine because the effects I've seen with clients and patients of some of the big pharma's medicine isn't good. It's not good at all.
I agree. I think where possible, I think you have to go down as natural as you can, because prevention is always better than the cure. I think it's everything in moderation.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not against the medical profession. I've seen them do great things. There are
yeah,
great surgeons.
absolutely.
I have to say, who
Surgeons
are
are
absolutely, they're almost like, human angels with what they
they
can
are,
do.
surgeons are.
Absolutely. Even when dealing with certain cancers, I've seen them perform. I have seen them perform miracles. Mind you, I've seen natural miracles as well. So,
Yeah,
I think both should be working together, actually.
absolutely,
I
Foster.
think we're
We're
where
agreed on that.
yeah, I think it's always prevention. So I think if we
Yeah,
can sort of talk more about the sort of healthy diet, so it really is the whole mind, body, and spirit
yeah.
aspects to health and well-being, because it
Mm.
is. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of different things that gives the human being health and vitality.
Yeah, it's mind, body, spirit. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
mind,
that's
body,
where
spirit.
our nature comes in as being incredibly important, because out in nature, it really does. It relaxes you. Being out in nature is just where you're closer to heaven in my work, in my view.
Yeah, and I think I just want to say, when we talk about this, it doesn't mean to say that you have to go out in a great big ramble out into the middle of the wilderness. You can create your own pocket of a really little sort of oasis in your own garden, and that doesn't have to be a big area. So you can entice nature to come to you and enjoy a nice quiet space in your garden or on your patio. So,
Absolutely.
um, and just to be able to just stop somewhere to sit, have a cup of
Yeah,
coffee, allow the sunlight on your face for just, even if it's just for 10 minutes, it's an uplifting experience. Go out, take some deep breaths and just enjoy the sounds of nature. But yeah, I think it's about just having that appreciation for your own gardens. And that's another
absolutely.
thing that was becoming eroded, because, the way they were changing the way, you wanted to do gardening. They would
Yeah.
kind of just like pave everything over,
Oh, yeah, like the
pave
song.
paradise. It's just like the record, pave
Yeah.
paradise, hook up a
Pay what's
parking
it?
lot.
Yeah, put up a
Yeah,
parking lot. People pay people pay a dollar and something just to see trees in a museum. And if we
Yeah,
don't watch
exactly.
it, that's what's going to happen. Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's kind of slipping down that. I mean, and also I just want to say you can go out to beautiful gardens. The Royal Horticultural Society have gardens where you can go and find somewhere an oasis
yeah,
to sit in. Again, that is one of the really good charities there are where,
yeah,
they do great work for conservation,
mm,
for nature. So,
absolutely.
um, yeah,
And
so
you're absolutely right, Foster, about you don't need a massive place, just a small place, and put some seeds down, wildflowers. It is that, and a little, even a little mini pond where there's water.
yeah,
Water, life.
a good bird bath, even if
Yeah,
it's something,
yeah,
just to entice nature to you,
mm,
animals and birds and things, which is something that we've always done ever
yeah,
since we
absolutely.
were children. We've always been
Yeah,
encouraged to sort of appreciate the wildlife around us,
yeah,
so
yeah.
and I think that that's another thing that should be brought into the education system. It's something that children
Oh,
should
yeah,
know more about. What's in
absolutely.
the hedgerows, personally,
Mm.
children should be walked along hedgerows and with people
Oh,
who know what
yeah,
they're talking about and tell
yeah.
them what wildflowers there are and,
Mm,
what bees there are, etcetera, and birds and all of that. I think
yeah.
children really appreciate that, and they
Oh, they
liken to
do.
little
I love it.
beasties and things. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I think that's really important for the future too, for future generations. I think that's
yeah.
something that should be brought into the curriculum.
Absolutely, Foster. Yeah, absolutely. And just remember the power of the mind is just absolutely wonderful as well. It's incredible because Nikola Tesla said, the imagination is key. And I've done this when I've been at rock bottom myself. I've seen in my head how I want myself to be. And you can go into detail like you're painting a picture, painting or drawing a picture in your mind, and it works because I've done it. And it
Well,
does.
it's
It's like your
positive.
brain, it's like your subconscious mind sends out these signals like your heart and brings these things to you. Now, Foster and I have found this recently, haven't we? Synchronicity.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
really
a lot.
have. Yeah.
And I think the thing is, it's the key to manifesting a healthy lifestyle and, you know, opening up. You see, when you meditate, you're opening yourself up to your creative mind, your right side of your brain. You're accessing the subconscious and super unconscious mind, which are real labyrinths of
Mm.
creativity. Quite rightly, Marshall, as you've said. I mean, our mind is superior. Our brains are a superior organ, believe you me, they are. And, it's been proven that we remember absolutely every minute detail of everything
Yeah.
that's gone throughout our lives. So
And that
therefore, can conjure up and use our imagination.
absolutely. And that brings me to how we are all kept in stress in society now, and we are losing that ability to just relax. Everybody is so stressed out where they're going to get their next meal from, and also jobs. I mean, management, for instance, in jobs now, some of them can be right little Hitlers because they've got this, because there are so many people that need a job. They're just using that to manipulate people and, give them really rotten jobs to do, hours to work. I mean, that's another subject, isn't it? We could go into another time, but it is horrific out there.
It certainly is. I mean, yes, there is certainly this level of dictatorship and within a job. environment within the work environment. I think what I've noticed actually with people that, you know, our clients, is that when you really look at it, there's this kind of state of crisis management where the managers are literally haven't actually been properly trained as to how to
Yeah, yeah,
manage.
we're back
So
to
it's
the
kind of just
training. Yeah,
jumping from one thing to another without actually really having any thought of organization. They're not really looking at a person's skill set, who
no,
would be best to place in that skill where they can grow and evolve and progress within that position. And, you know, I think in a way is exactly as you've said. So people are being put into a position at
mm,
work where they're out of their depth. So they're immediately paddling at a much harder rate and kind of, in a way, causing maximum stress for themselves. And that's wrong. That's down to upper management. And anyone that's worked in management, I know I have, and I know you have, Marshall, you know that actually your staff are your best assets and you need to invest in your staff
and you need to look
better and
after.
make
Yeah,
sure that they're,
yeah,
you know, that
absolutely.
they're happy. And that can simply by, you know, talking to them. You know, what are you happy with what you, but there's no communication now within some corporate companies, which is a bit disappointing.
And it all leads
We
to
see that quite
mental
a lot now.
illness. It leads to mental illness,
Well,
and
fatigue, just
and
generally
yeah,
fatigue,
yeah,
you know, burnout.
stress.
So many people are suffering from burnout.
Absolutely. Right, yeah. So Foster, yes. So we just want to thank everyone immensely for following us and commenting, like and subscribe, because we've got lots more in the pipeline, haven't we, Foster?
We
And
have.
yeah, especially as we come from, health and well-being. So that's another thing that's going to be happening. So we're excited about that. So
Yes,
yeah, so
definitely.
everyone just keep well. Just remember that you are empowered with your own brain as well, and that's important. You don't want an AI brain or a chip. You've got your own brain, um, and it's wonderful. Yeah,
Absolutely. Definitely. Like and subscribe, and we'll look forward to another podcast in the not so distant future.
absolutely, Foster. Take care, everyone. Lots of
Yeah, remember,
love.
stay happy, stay healthy, stay sane.